Hey everyone, I'm kalimsiYT and welcome back to another speed build. In today's video, I'm going to be building a castle in the world of Windenburg, which is the world that came with the expansion pack, The Sims 4 Get Together. Yeah, it was Get Together. And yeah, so I'm building a castle today, which is not something that I usually do. But recently I went and I got the castle estate kit, and I thought what better way to use it than to, build a castle with it. And this is more of kind of like an English estate, if that makes sense. It's not like super medieval castle-y, but it definitely has like old vibes to it, if you get what I mean. And yeah, I'm building this for my save pile, which is something that I've been working on for over a year now, which is kind of crazy because I feel like it's been a long time, but I also feel like I haven't made much progress on it at all, especially since they keep adding new worlds to The Sims. I feel like I'll get a few lots down and then they'll just add another one, and then that's like 10 or 11 more lots that I'll need to do at some point, but it's fine. Maybe one day I'll finally get it done. Maybe I won't. We'll see. But yeah, this build is for that, and my plan is to have a family living in here that you can play with in your save file, or you can interact with them if you play in the save file. So this is actually the first speed build that I've uploaded to my channel in over a month, I believe. I think the last video I uploaded was in January, and there are lots of reasons for that. I mean, I built this house late December, early January, and at the time of me recording this voiceover, it is now mid-February. So I've been sitting on this one for a long time, and I'm just now finally getting around to playing around with it and editing it and uploading it. And well, I started school again for the winter semester. It's my last semester before I graduate, and so I've been spending a little bit of time there, and it makes it just a little bit harder to find time to record and edit and upload everything. And two, I also, now that I'm back at school, I'm living with 4 other people, and it's a little hard to find time to talk to myself in my room for 30 to 40 minutes because the walls are super thin, and I just feel a little bit weird doing that. In fact, I think one of them is home right now and can probably hear me, which I don't really love, but this is like the best time I've been able to find in a long time. Another thing along with that too is that I feel like I go through phases when it comes to playing this game. I love it, I will always come back to it, and it's one of my favorites, but that doesn't mean I don't get a little bit tired of it sometimes. And I was starting to get that way probably like a month and a half to 2 months ago. I was building a decent amount, a lot, getting on every day, which is not a problem. I love doing that, but after a certain amount of time, I kind of lost a little bit of inspiration as to what I should build. I'd kind of open up the game and I'd go in a lot and I'd try a couple things out and nothing would work. And so I find that whenever that happens, instead of pushing myself to keep playing the game and building, it's best to just take a break, which is another reason as to why I haven't really been up to anything. But I have recently found inspiration to play the game again. I'm currently almost done with a couple more speed builds, and so I hope to have those out shortly and get back to just regularly posting on here again. I think that will be a lot of fun. It'll give me something to do. I mentioned that I'm in school, but I'm only in 9 credit hours, and you need 12 hours to be considered a full-time student. So I'm not even a full-time student since this is my last semester. Like, I only need 9 hours to graduate. And so I do have a decent amount of time, and I've been filling that also with additional hobbies like outside of The Sims. So like, for example, I have been probably like the last 4-5 months, I've been really into sourdough bread making. I made a starter back in November, and from there I've been making a bunch of bread loaves, and I've really enjoyed that a lot, and so I've been doing that a decent amount. But now that I'm back and living with other people again, I find it hard to eat all of my bread, if that makes sense, because I make a certain amount, and back when I lived with my family, I could easily go and have them eat whatever I made. but now that I live with roommates, a couple of them also make bread. We kind of like gotten like a little kick on it, like sourdough bread making last semester, but they are also making their own bread, some of them, and so I find it kind of hard to find people to eat all of my stuff, so it has me baking less. And I've also picked up sewing again. Sewing's a hobby I've had for many years, and it's kind of like The Sims in a way, where I go through phases where I really, really love to sew and it's all I do, and then a lot of times there'll just be like times where I can't sew and I'll go a really long time without doing it. And I'm starting to finally get back into a place where I'm enjoying doing it again, which has been really nice. I haven't been doing anything crazy, but I've been making some bowl covers and some reusable makeup wipes, and I think my next project that I'm going to tackle is some oven mitts, so we'll see how that goes. But anyways, what I am trying to say with this is that even though I have been less active on here, I do have more free time than I did before. So now that I'm kind of getting back into The Sims, I can hopefully keep doing this and then also pursue more real life hobbies outside of this game, because I think you need a good balance between, playing video games and the computer, and then also actually tangibly looking and touching and doing real things, which can be kind of hard sometimes. I feel like a lot of the times our day is spent behind a screen, if that makes sense. Most of the work I do for school or in a job setting is behind a screen, on a computer. A lot of entertainment is TV, YouTube, whatever, and that's fine. I don't mind it a whole lot, but I definitely need some time to just not look at that, and that's just how I am. I know not everyone feels like that, but I think it's definitely something that I value. So actually getting on and talking about what's going on here in the video with the build. So I made the main castle-like frame, and I've gone in and put some siding and windows placement there, and then now I'm just going in and I'm doing some landscaping. And overall, I would say that this build came together pretty quickly. At least I'm pretty sure it did, because like I said earlier, I built this over a month ago at this point, but I remember it being pretty smooth and I enjoyed it a decent amount. And yeah, I'm using the tool mod and Better Build By to do a decent portion of the landscaping. You can see the hedges and the fencing in the front there. A lot of the trees are from there as well. And then also in the very back of this lot, this is one of the 40 by 30 lots in the northern neighborhood in Windenburg. Anyways, behind that lot, there is a lot of blank space. You can see it whenever I pull the roofs back there, there's just nothing there, but the lot doesn't extend that far back. And so I find that really weird and awkward, because you're not going to see that very often in real life. I feel like it would normally be forested. So I went in and with the tool mod, I took some trees from the live edit menu and I plopped some back there, just because I felt like that looks a little more realistic and less bad. And yeah, now I'm moving on into the backyard area, and I wanted to put a little pond down. I kind of wish that this lot was a little bit bigger, so I could have really expanded on the back, and I guess I could have done that 64 by 64 lot that is also in this neighborhood in Windenburg. However, I feel one, I already kind of filled that lot with a build that I made a few years ago, or maybe it was 2, I don't know. Anyway, that lot's already filled in my save file, so I'm not gonna go back and redo it, especially when I have so many more lots to do instead. And 2, sometimes working on a 64 by 64 lot is really scary, because that's so much space that you have to fill, and it gets kind of overwhelming at times. So doing the 40 by 30 for this was nice, although I feel like the building does feel slightly big for the lot itself, if that makes sense, which really doesn't give a whole lot of room to work with in the front and backyards, but I feel like I did a decent job of filling it up. You can see I have a walkway going from that little deck area to the side yard near that pond, and then I'm also going to have an area for table and chairs for them to dine outside. And then I believe I put in some monkey bars and like a little kid area to play in as well in this backyard. So a lot of big things have happened in the Sims community since I last uploaded a video on this channel, and I kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit because I have lots of opinions on them and I haven't gotten to share it with anyone yet. So I guess first and foremost, the 25th anniversary live stream, which announced like the base game updates and then like the new login event, or I guess really it's like a gameplay event. And then I think there were some new kits, and then of course the new expansion pack that's going to come out soon. And I could be missing something else because I feel like a lot happened. But yeah, I didn't end up watching the live stream because that's a lot of time that I don't have, frankly. And so I watched some recap videos to see what was discussed, and at the time of me recording this, like that base game update with all the new items has been put in the game, and I've been playing around with that a little bit. So I think I have another speed build that I've been working on that I've been using some of those items in, and I really like them. I think they did a pretty good job, and it's really nice that it's free, and I'm glad that like EA is actually doing something for the 25th anniversary, because back when it was the 20th anniversary and we just got the hot tub, that wasn't that fun. And so I'm glad they're actually kind of celebrating it. And yeah, I haven't played the time traveling gameplay quest reward thing yet. I need to. It's on my to-do list. I think it's cool that they're putting Emmett Relevart back in from The Sims 3 to do it. And before the new expansion pack got announced, I had thought that like the time travel aspect of this was going to be part of like a pack, because if you remember the last expansion pack, which was Life and Death, there was the Reaper's Rewards event that was like kind of related to that. And so I was hoping maybe this would be the same thing, but instead of like into the future in The Sims 3, it would be like, I don't know, The Sims 4 into the past. Like instead of going forward in time, you would go back in time. I thought that would have been pretty cool. No, but instead we have businesses and hobbies, which the time of me recording this, only like one trailer has come out. And then I saw a post today that had like the CAS and build buy items leaked, so I could see what it looks like also. And yeah, I'm not really sure what I think about it quite yet, and I don't want to judge it too hard before it actually comes out, but based on first impressions, it definitely seems like it should have just been a get to work refresh, or at the very least a game pack. It just seems like we already have the ability to make businesses in the game with the retail lot system, and granted, the retail lot system is not the best, and there are definitely lots of things that can be fixed with it, but I also don't feel like it should be marketed as a whole other pack. And the same thing with the for rent system, where you divvy up the different rooms to be like different lot types or different units. I feel like that really should have been expanded upon in for rent as well, because it's clear that they could have done that the whole time. And I get at the time that Get to Work was created, the game didn't have those capabilities, and it has since expanded to be able to do that, which is why I feel like a refresh would have worked. And honestly, I would have been okay with them like making the Get to Work price tag higher. Like instead of $40, like they add all this new content into Get to Work, and then it's $50 to $60 for the pack. I mean, that wouldn't be ideal, but I think it would definitely be great, or it'd be better than a pack with just this stuff, when I felt like it could have very easily fit into 2 other packs for the same niche, if that makes sense. And my opinions on this new pack aren't new or original or anything. I know a lot of other people feel pretty similar to me, but I know I probably won't be buying the pack unless it's on sale, like 50% off or greater, which will be a long time from now. I think they usually wait around a year or so after release to have it on sale at that discount, so it will probably be a while. I still haven't gotten Love Struck or Life and Death yet, because I am waiting for that 50% off, and also I feel like there's so many packs in this game to the point where it's like it's impossible to get them all, and I know some people have them, which is great, that's so awesome for them, and I wish I could be that, but my wallet simply could not afford that. And especially, it feels now like that we have all of these newer packs, it makes me kind of wish that I didn't buy some of the packs earlier in the game's lifespan, when now it's like, now we have like a replacement. So like, why did I get to work when this one's now coming out, you know? And I get to work also has like the live careers and that aspect as well, but it just feels like it's very much the same thing. Same thing with City Living and For Rent. It's like, why did I buy City Living when For Rent just came out? You know, it's these packs like they occupy the same little concept, which I don't really love, but it is what it is. I feel like, you know, sometimes people can be pretty critical of the game, and myself included. I'm not going to lie about that, but I think when I criticize the game, it comes out of a place of love. Like, I love this game, and I've put thousands and thousands of hours into it throughout my life. And so whenever I have an opinion that isn't, you know, the most favorable towards it, it's not like to hate on it, because it's purely out of love. Like, I want to see this game do really cool things. And yeah. Another big thing that's happened in the community too that I can't believe I've forgotten to mention is the re-release of The Sims 1 and The Sims 2, which I did go ahead and purchase that as well, because I was like, I have The Sims 4, obviously. It's the video you're watching is me building in The Sims 4. The Sims 3 I also have, but I only have like a couple packs in that. When I was a kid, I used to play so much Sims 3. Like, also, thousands and thousands of hours have been put into that game, but it's on an EA account that no longer exists, or like we don't have it anymore. I don't know what happened. It was my mom's. I don't know what's going on there, but basically I can't access what I used to have on there. So I just have like the Sims 3 bundle with like late night and like one of the stuff packs that comes with it. I think they were doing a sale at one point and I got it, but I would love to get all the packs for that, but they're still like so expensive on the App Store, which I don't really know why, given that that game is over a decade old, but it is what it is. Anyways, I have those two games, and so I was like, well, if I have those two, I might as well get The Sims 1 and 2 as well. And so also in my off time, I have been playing that a little bit, and it's been really cool. I think The Sims 2 was the first Sims game that I ever played as a kid, and so it's really cool to like go back and play with it a little bit. It's very nostalgic, and it very much impresses me like how much they were able to do back in 2005 that I feel like has not really been carried through with in 2025. Like, for example, I was playing with a household. It was one of the pre-made ones in the game, but I forget exactly who I was playing with. But anyways, I was playing with this household, and there was a sim that my sim didn't like, and I ran into them in public, and so my sim got a wand, which, first of all, wants and fears, I don't know why they're not in The Sims 4, but I guess like they were kind of like wimps, but like Sims 2 style wants and fears, I would love to have that in The Sims 4. But anyways, so I get a wand to like be mean to this sim, and so I go and I be mean, I throw a drink at her, whatever, and then I get a pop-up saying that sim is going to contact my boss at my job and get me demoted. And so the very next day I went into work and then I got demoted, and I just thought that was such a cool mechanic that you never really see in the game now. Like, The Sims 4 can never do that, and I wish that wasn't the case, but it's true. And so it's just like really neat to see how different the gameplay is between the different games, and it's something I would really like to one day see in like a modern title of the game. Like, I think keeping like the graphics and build mode of The Sims 4, and then doing the open world and the creative style of The Sims 3, and then the gameplay of The Sims 2, I think would be the perfect game. And I don't know what I would do if that was a reality. I probably would never log off on my computer. But yeah, so I've just been playing around with that a bit. I want to do some more of that. Maybe get into some Sims 2, Sims 3 speed builds. I think that would be a fun thing to do. So I've kind of talked over everything that I have been doing in this video so far. So yeah, right now we're working on the interior, and we've been working on the interior for a long time. And the kind of style I wanted to go for with this is that it's restored in a way, and it's like a normal family lives here now, but it still has a lot of that traditional charm from back when it was like first built. So like for example, this room, the kitchen we're doing right now, and then also the entrance way, the grand entrance, it still has like that stone walls, brick flooring that I imagine the original would have. But then the rest of the first floor, like the living room, dining room, all of that has been kind of updated in a way, not to make it like super modern, but to make it look more restored, if that makes sense. Like I want it to be very traditional still, and very grand and opulent, but at the same time not make it look like super old, if that makes sense. So yeah, and one thing that's kind of weird I noticed when looking at the different like videos, photos of castles, is that like the living room, dining room, all of like those areas will always be like super grand, and then you go to the kitchen and it's just like not the case. And I think the main reason for that is because I guess back in medieval times, really the only people that would be in the kitchen would be like servants or something, and so it didn't need to be super fancy, and I guess no one would really go into the kitchen. So in this build, I tried to go ahead and kind of copy that in a way. Obviously, I still think the kitchen turned out pretty nice. I really like how it is. It's pretty big and it has like multiple areas to it. But I just feel like it's definitely not as grand as the rest of the house maybe. And you can see kind of how that looks compared to the dining room, which I just now started. How like, yeah, it still looks good, but definitely not as high end as some of the other parts of the house look. And yeah, I also put in some bathrooms. You can see there's like a little hallway area outside of the dining room, and I didn't furnish those on camera because this video is already a half an hour long, and they'll be in the screenshots anyway, so you can get a good idea of what those look like if you stick around to the end there, if you're very curious about that. And so for the dining room, I found this a little hard because it's a very big room and there's a lot of space to fill, and I'm not really good. Sometimes I'm very lost on how to do that properly, and so I have like the table, and I really wish we had a bigger table. And I know you can like go ahead and use the Move Objects cheat and kind of merge tables together to get one big dining room table, but functionally wise, like that doesn't always work the best, and I feel like there was no good way to do that in this build. Like I would love to have like a very long table that has maybe like 14 or 15 seats to it, like instead of it being like 3 chairs fit on like one side, like maybe like 4 or 5, and then having the head of the table. So I guess actually that'd probably be like 12 seats at the most instead of 8, but I still feel like that would make a big difference. And you know, you can only have 8 Sims in the household. However, you know, dinner parties are a thing in the game, social events are, and it'd be really nice if they could all sit around a table. Now, like realistically, do Sims ever sit around a table and eat a meal together just in general? No. And I feel like that would be a lot harder with, you know, managing a social event to get that even, but I'd like to pretend at least that that's something that could possibly happen. And so that'd be a cool thing to see in the future. Yeah, and now I've moved on to the second floor where I'm just kind of furnishing this little loft area. How I kind of did the floor plan is there is like, once you go up the entrance, like the stairs, there are some bedrooms, but there's a decent amount of dead space that's kind of made up here. You can see what it kind of looks like there. And so right by the little area, you look down into the entrance. I don't know what that's called, but that area right there that I'm working on right now, decided to make it a sitting area. And then to the right of that area where you start getting into some of the bedrooms, I went and I made that a little study area. And I do have the master bedroom for this build on the first floor, but I wanted to do kind of the common areas first in the speed build, like show those off, and then move on to the bedrooms later on. And you'll also notice that there is a ladder on this floor, and that leads up to the third floor where the dormers are, which you can see in the exterior. And I have that as space that your sim can use, but for this speed build I just went and I put some boxes up there and some cobwebs. I just kind of saw it as like a miscellaneous space for storage. I had originally wanted to fit the money vault in there from Get Famous, but it wasn't big enough for that, so I didn't end up doing that. So if you download this house and you want to put something on that third floor, that is what it's there for, to do something with. I believe this house has a total of 4 bedrooms. Yeah, I think it's 4. And you can see that we're working on the master right now. I wanted to make this like pretty grand as well. You know, again, not like super old looking, but you know, refined, polished, rich, if that makes sense. So you can see that here. And I wanted to give this room like something unique, and so I used the platform tool to raise up this bed part, or like the sleeping part of the master bedroom, up a step, and so your sim has to like step up to get there. And then down in the, like the little entrance part of the master bedroom, I have like a sitting area and a fireplace that you'll see me add in just a minute. And I really like that little bit of separation that it gives between the entrance area and the area to go into the ensuite bathroom, and then like where the actual like bed part of the bedroom is. I'm definitely used to furnishing more traditional style houses. However, I haven't furnished a very like opulent, old money type of house like this in a very long time, and so it was really nice to kind of get to play around with that style, because that's not something I do a whole lot. And I guess I probably should have mentioned this whenever I first started recording this voiceover, but I did have some reference images that I used when kind of deciding how to build this house, and so I'll go ahead and I'll put those on screen for you to see. It probably would have been more helpful for me to do that, or for me to mention that when I was actually building the exterior, but I'll put them up now. You can kind of get an idea of where my head was at when I was putting this whole build together. Yeah, back to the master bedroom. You can see I have that sitting area with the fireplace in now, and then I use the divider object to also kind of create an area of separation, just to make the room look and feel a little bit bigger. I think dividers are a pretty underused object in the game. I rarely find myself looking for a divider. However, whenever I do use it, I feel like it makes the space look so much better. It's one of those items that I just need to remember is there. There are a lot of items that I think are so cool in the game that I just forget to use because I like to stick to the items I like. They're comfortable, they're safe. So I sometimes forget to venture out, and that's something I'm trying to get better at with building with objects that I don't usually use, especially because like I paid for all these objects in my game. I feel like I need to use them. So getting better with that is something that I've been trying to work on recently in my builds. And yeah, now we're back up to the second floor again, and I am furnishing a bedroom now, and I imagine that this is where a teen girl would live. I kind of have a family in mind for the Sims that would live here, but not fully. I kind of imagined that there would be a set of parents and then a teen daughter and then 2 boys who are like children age or child age. Yeah. But I don't really have an idea for like what they're involved in, like what their careers are, kind of what their general story is, just like in general, like what type of family would live here. I'd like to think that maybe if there was like a Windenburg royal family, maybe they'd be like adjacent to it, maybe not like the king and queen or whatever, but somehow related to that. And like when I was building or planning this save file originally, One thing I really wanted to do was turn the Von Haunt estate, which is like the chalet gardens in Windenburg, into like a livable castle, and then turn that into like a royal family type of situation, so that there would be like a Windenburg royal family, because I think that would be so cool. However, upon me trying to start that build and, you know, make the castle, I quickly found out that you can't change the lot type at the chalet gardens, which really disappoints me a lot. And I guess you can with a mod, but I want the save file to be CC free, mod free. Like, I don't want to mess with any of that. And so that was really disappointing, because I think that would be so cool to build a castle, have your Sims live there, and then their backyard like overlooks like that big garden area. I feel like that would be such a nice thing to have. So obviously I couldn't do that. And so my kind of plan right now is that I have a lot built in the 64 by 64 lot in this neighborhood of Windenburg, which I mentioned earlier, is to have kind of like a pseudo Windenburg royal family living in that, and then maybe the Sims living in this house are like related to them in some way. You know, maybe they're like a duke or duchess of some sort. If you can't tell, I don't really know many of like the royal family titles or anything like that. And now I'm moving on into the boys' bedroom, or what I imagine to be a bedroom for the twin boys. And one thing with this bedroom that I kind of played around with is like this red wood kind of color scheme going on. I usually never use this shade of wood in my builds, and what kind of inspired me to do so were like those beds from Discovery University, because I really like the swatch on there, but I never use it because I never play around with that wood color. And so this is probably like the only room I've done ever where I've had that, and I actually really like it, and it's something that I want to continue to do in the future. I feel like it makes it look just a little bit unique. And yeah, now I'm just cluttering it up with some toys, making it just look a little bit lived in. I would imagine that this household would have like a live-in butler or a maid that would go ahead and would clean up a lot of the mess, so there wouldn't be a big like pile of toys just in the middle of the room. But I also wanted to make it look lived in at the same time. And then after we finish furnishing this room, there is another room that I kind of just made it like a generic guest room of sorts. But if you have the vintage glamour stuff pack, you can have a live-in butler that like lives in the household with you, but you have to assign him a bed. And so that would be a good place to assign the butler to live, like make that the butler's room. You can see there, it's on the other side of that bathroom. I have like a Jack and Jill bathroom going on there. But if not, you know, it's good for stayovers or just having a guest room in general. One thing that I wish I could have included in this build that I didn't was just like a dedicated office. And you can see like in the little loft common area, I have a desk that your Sims can work at, but it would have been really nice to include just a little bit more skill building items. I think that would have been cool. But I am really happy with how this castle turned out overall. And if you would like to download this castle, it is on my gallery page, which is kalimsiYT. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you liked it, feel free to give it a like, comment, maybe subscribe to my channel because it helps a lot. Enjoy the screenshots, and I will see you in the next speed build. Bye everyone.